Okay, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Angie?
Very well.
All
Yeah,
right.
excited about this topic. Yeah, just getting all these technical issues out.
Yeah, that's a part of life now,
Right.
since COVID happened.
That's true.
Angie, I'm very excited about today's topic because this is very, unique and interesting to know a lot about
Hmm.
ourselves. So, I just, if just for the people who are new, if you can give a quick intro, and then I think we can start with the conversation.
Sure. So I'm Angie Torani. I'm a holistic healthcare practitioner. I practice body talk, and yeah, I have been in this field since 2005. And I would say I just love holistic health and how it can help heal the body from inside out. So I've been practicing this for over 2 decades, as well as training people to become professionals. Um, so yeah, check out my website when you if you're interested to learn more how to dive into it and become a certified practitioner. And today we are going to speak about epigenetics.
Yeah, epigenetics. So the first question that comes to the mind is this only, that what is epigenetics and how it is different from genetics? Because I'm from science background, I've studied about genetics, but epigenetics is something that I would like to know more about.
Right. Yeah. So I think this epigenetics has got buzz for last over a decade. Dr. Bruce Lipton talks a lot about it. So the concept of epigenetics is like, the past science would tell us that we are what our reality is dictated by our genes. So whatever is in our genes, that's what you get. So, but the new science shows us that we are actually not slaves of our genetics. And most of the health issues are epigenetics, not genetics. So genetic diseases are rare. They are literally small percentage that could be coming through the heredity line. So which means most of the time our DNA is functional and it has got perfect recipe of how to function optimum. What goes wrong and what creates to onset of most of the diseases is epigenetics. So
Okay.
epi means on top of. So the layer on top of the genes is epigenetics.
Okay.
And in simple words, we can talk about it. They're like, on and off switches. If you think about light switches and you've got dimmers and amplifiers and switch on and switch off. So that's the function of these epigenetics. They work as switches. They will switch off certain functions, they will amplify, they will overproduce certain hormones. So it's like, imagine your piano has got everything that you can play on it, and then how you're playing it would produce certain sound. So what our body is producing, whether it's perfect health or a state of health or a particular disease, is the play of these epigenetics, these on and off switches, which control the function of the DNA. So the interesting thing is what affects these epigenetics,
Mhm.
why they get turned on, or it will contribute to a disease or a switch off a normal healthy function. And that is an interesting story. Epigenetics is basically impact of our environment. So we are products of our environment. Everything that goes on in the environment affects it at various different levels. So if you're talking about emotions, so let's say COVID time, there was a lot of panic, fear. Um, there's war in a country. So the emotions would impact and create and trigger these epigenetic markers. So let's say a person is perfectly healthy and they go through a divorce, and that was 2 years of ugly legal battle. And all that stress has switched on these epigenetic markers, which could contribute to various different diseases for them in form of allergies, intolerances, or various different stuff. Then epigenetics could be impacted by environment, where it could be also toxins. So let's say somebody going through chemotherapy, medication, lousy diet, lifestyle, that can trigger. So environmental factors could be emotional, psychological. So stress in any way, whether it's emotional, psychological, chemical, toxins. It could be mechanical, which could be wear and tear through the surgery, injuries, and so on. So stress in various different forms. We are products of our environment. We are constantly being programmed by it. And with stress, these epigenetic markers are sort of switched on and off, and they can trigger into diseases. So very rarely it would be somebody is born with a genetic disease. Most of the time, even people have genetic potential. It's how many layers or epigenetic markers that get accumulated over time that contributes to onset of the disease. So the good
Mhm.
news is that we are products of our environment. They are easily created with our stresses, which means they could be easily reversed. So you have a
Hmm.
lifestyle change. Let's say you go for a meditation retreat, you go for a major detox, you clean up your diet, you totally change your way of living with your stress levels or your relationships. Now that gives opportunity to those epigenetic markers where you'll be neutralizing what has caused that dysfunction into back to its harmony.
Mhm.
So the good news is that they could be easily repaired. So they could harm, but at the same time, it's a huge room for correction.
Okay. So, what I'm hearing from you is that genetic disorders are lesser. So, is it really true that 90 to 95% of diseases they are caused by these epigenetic imbalances only, Angie?
Yes. So genetically speaking, our DNA has mostly good profile and very rare or few, like, Down syndrome and few other, when people are could have a cerebral palsy or handicaps and also those few different criterias where it could be genetic profile, but most of the time it's epigenetics. And epigenetics could be something that's impacted right from the childhood or through the fetal life. So let's say the parents have got healthy DNA, the child has got a healthy functioning digestive system or an immune system. Now, something goes wrong in the fetal life, where let's say there's a lot of trauma, stress in the parent's life, which could be emotional, psychological, or chemical toxicity, or let's say the mother is on drugs or alcohol or various different stuff. So, stress in any form can switch on these epigenetic markers right from the fetal life. And then these could be accumulative over time. Each stressor that goes on can switch on and trigger these epigenetic markers. And these epigenetic markers literally can translate our disease, our state of mind. So, some people who could be extremely hypersensitive to fear or nervous or anxious versus onset of disease, it's basically accumulation of these layers that and the stresses that could have accumulated over time, right from the conception till any age that could contribute to these diseases. So, uh, lifestyle changes would help, clearing those traumas and stresses would help. Now, many times with Western medicine approaches, we go for to a doctor, we get a diagnosis, we get a label,
Yeah.
and then we are addressing that label through medication, through surgery. It could be removing a tumor, organ transplant, or going and fixing the ligament or the knee degeneration or a hip replacement, and so on. So that is at the physical level. But unless we have cleared all those epigenetic markers that contributed to the disease, to that inflammation, to that arthritis, to forming of the tumor, unless we have cleared all that story in the background, we have not done a complete job, which means the stresses, the symptoms are temporarily suppressed. And the inflammation, which was showing up in the knee and led to knee degeneration, now that the knee has been replaced with a new knee, that inflammation may show up somewhere else because the cause of the inflammation and these triggers why the immune cells are overproducing stress hormones or these inflammatory hormones, that piece is not addressed. So the key thing is to listen to the story behind the symptoms, and that's what Body Talk System is all about. That's what mind body medicine is all about, and the holistic approach, where it's not about symptom care, it's not about fixing the symptoms or elevating the symptoms. And health is not something that you could bring in from outside. Health
True.
is an internal story. So, with holistic health, what we are looking at, reading the body story behind those symptoms. What are those stressors that are contributing to these elevated inflammatory markers, or somebody's heightened stress response and contributing to their panic attacks and anxiety? And then helping the body to heal from inside out by clearing those causative factors, by using the tools and techniques to clear the emotional trauma or supporting the body with detoxification, or even coming up with lifestyle changes that could support them through that process.
So, Angie, you have shared at length how stress, trauma, toxins, and lifestyle they affect our genes, and especially the epigenetic markers. I I got stuck on one thing that you said, that the good news is that we can
Mhm.
reverse it. So, can someone reverse chronic conditions also, like just by working on the environment and emotions and the epigenetic markers?
Yes, yes, you can. Chronic conditions are basically, most of the chronic conditions are inflammatory. So whether you're talking about diabetes to uh, inflammation in any form, blood pressure, high BP, or even cholesterol, a lot of inflammation that would contribute into various different stuff. And why body gets into inflammation? Because our nervous system, which is our stress mechanism, our fight and flight mechanism, when that is at peak. So it's like, you're using your car and you are pressing the accelerator and burning out all your fuel, which means you're constantly in crisis. You're burning out your body by optimizing the stress hormones and using up all your resources.
Hmm.
Now, in that case, the immune system gets the signal there's a survival mode. It starts producing heightened inflammation. It starts seeing everything as a threat, which contributes to an autoimmune condition or allergy or intolerance or arthritis or inflammation in various different joints or gut issues and so on. So, yes, switching the brain out of that fight, flight, survival mode by, we have got two types of nervous system. One is called sympathetic, and other one is parasympathetic. So, if you're overusing the stress mode, which is our fight, flight, survival mode, our body simply doesn't have a chance to repair and heal. But if we switch gears into the parasympathetic mode, where our body has ability to repair and heal itself, it can clear up all those epigenetic markers, those inflammatory conditions and chronic conditions. So I have seen people with holistic health, with body talk treatments, how they've been able to reverse. So people they've gone through surgeries, they have been on lots of medications, and using these treatments and lifestyle changes, they're able to reverse and clear stuff.
Hmm. All right. And you touched upon it, but I am very curious to know in details also about it now that you said that these can be reversed, and working on our stress, toxins, all these things really help us with all these diseases, 90 to 95%. How does body talk help in clearing these epigenetic imbalances?
So BodyTalk's system has got lots of different tools and techniques. The beauty of this program is that it's combination of all of the Western medicine, Eastern concepts, which could be meridians, working with chakras, working with inherited stuff. So BodyTalk treatment is all about listening to your body's unique story by communicating with your body's intelligence. So our body is functioning on its own. It has got an intelligence that keeps us going. We call it innate wisdom, our natural ability to heal. Now, with body talk system and holistic health, what we are looking at communicating and connecting with this body's innate wisdom as to identify what are its healing issues, why it's blocked from healing, what is the blockages, what are the stresses that are blocking it. And once you are able to identify what these stresses are and clear them. So with body talk treatments, there would be uh, you could work on meridians, you could be working on detoxification, you could be looking at optimizing the immune system, and more importantly, you're looking at addressing the psychology behind the symptoms, because all the symptoms, there is a consciousness and the psychology that prevails before the physical symptoms, why that immune system is gone into autoimmune condition, or it's not able to identify a certain pathogen. So with body talk treatments, it's all about listening to that why and addressing that story by using all these Eastern, Oriental, Western medicine concept through energy medicine, through a very subtle consciousness based modality where there is no medication, there is no acupuncture needles and all, but using all that philosophy and knowledge and helping the body to heal from inside out. And another thing, when we talk about epigenetics, a lot of it could be inherited. So inherited epigenetics, that's a interesting one. So let's say a person has gone through a lot of toxicity in their life, which could be smoking, alcohol, industrial pollution. They are living in a place which is highly toxic. Now, the next few generations could be impacted by that inherited toxicity. So it's interesting, a lot of toxins or epigenetic markers could be inherited. Why immune system is into the inflammatory mode? It could be not in this lifetime that they have gone through stuff, but they are inheriting what their ancestors have gone through, or if their ancestors have lived through a trauma of a war or any major emotional trauma, that could impact the onset of a lot of stuff. So epigenetics could be acquired in this lifetime, they could be inherited from the ancestors and from the genetic profile. And interestingly, um, with women, when the female child is born, all the ovaries and all the eggs that are produced through the lifetime
Mm.
are sort of during that fetal life. They're all ready in that fetal life. Whereas for men, their sperm is produced when after the child is born. So with men, if they are going through, let's say, cancer or they're on drugs. Now, all that can get translated through the sperm to the health of other child of the next generation. Whereas with women, whatever is inherited, and so let's say a child is born and the ovaries and the complete set of all the ovulation and eggs that would be in this child's lifetime period, they all are ready at the time of birth. Now, even if this person goes through chemotherapy and lots of stuff, the quality of egg or the health of the egg would not get impacted because it's already been
Wait.
produced. Whereas with men, it's constantly being produced, so their health would instantly transfer into genetic issues or epigenetic markers with others, with the
Okay.
future generations.
Nice.
So it's interesting how, yeah, a lot of old stuff can impact and how, like, the epigenetics of, let's say, certain somebody who is extremely toxic. So let's say somebody who's smoking at the early age, and the 3 generations later, you can see those epigenetic markers could be impacting them.
So,
But the difference between genetic and epigenetic, sorry, it would be that they are reversible.
hmm.
Epigenetics is the layer on top, which means it's a rewritable layer. So even if it's acquired or inherited, there's a possibility of correction. Sorry,
Okay.
go ahead.
No, no. So I was only thinking about this question only, which I was in my list to ask you, which you've shared that, that health is influenced by the ancestral trauma and inherited and, epigenetics. So you're saying that it's more impacted in terms of males because the sperm is formed later, and if the father has had more of the trauma, it would be impacted. So usually when the zygote is formed, the first egg is formed, Angie, there the cytoplasm, the outer layer is of the egg only of women. So the mother's traumas can also be inherited in such cases. I mean, it's a curious
Oh
question
yeah,
that I had.
yes, yes. So
Mm.
women would affect the physical health, and the father's health would affect a lot of psychological development.
Oh,
So, I mean, does get hugely imprinted by everything that's going on in the parent's life, every trauma and stress. But what I was speaking about, inherited stuff, like, any diseases and so on, or any toxicity. For women, it's basically not ongoing, whereas for men, it's more ongoing stuff. And therefore, it
okay.
becomes even more important to take care of your health, mental, physical health.
So true.
Yeah.
And when you were talking about the immune system part, that how body talk helps in that. So like how conscious based medicine and energy based medicine understands the why. And I really want to know, especially for these autoimmune diseases, because it's actually your body is getting that signal to work against your body. So how does body talk help with such conditions, autoimmune diseases? Allergies are also somewhat, they are the outcome and the reaction in some way, and chronic pain. So how does body talk help in that?
Yeah, see whether it's autoimmune condition, pain, or chronic fatigue. It's basically body symptoms. So when we talk about immune system, our immune system is an extremely sophisticated and intelligent system. It has got two functions. One function is to constantly identify from my environment what is a toxin or what is a threat, and launch an immune attack. And secondly, it has to live with the environment peacefully. So, which could be pollen or dairy and wheat gluten or various different stuff in our environment, as well as within our body mind, we have got billions of microbiome, which are different bacteria and viruses, which are non-human DNA that are within our body, and they are functioning as a community to serve and support our various different functions. So the immune system has got an important function where it has to constantly discern that even though this virus or bacteria, it's not a human cell, is it a friendly one or it's a pathogen? Now, once that discernment is disturbed, when it starts attacking its own human cells or good bacteria, that converts into autoimmune condition. Again, there's always emotional psychosomatic factors. So 98% of health issues, no matter what they always have some tangent of emotional psychological factors, and there could be chemical stress and so on, various different factors. And that's where the body talk treatments come in, where it's all about listening to your unique story and identifying the whole puzzle. What is contributing to that symptom? Why that immune system has gone into that autoimmune condition and not being able to identify and protect its own cells. And it's all about retraining the immune system. So I would say, working with clients, I see epigenetics coming up very often in the treatments, where everything that you're doing, whether you're working on clearing the emotional psychological trauma, it could be a bullying in the school, it could be a traumatic few years after a car accident that the family went through, it could be financial crisis. You're working on clearing all that emotional trauma, which could be stored as an active charge within the body mind.
Mhm.
So, once a situation happens, the memory of that is a person would have a memory, but as long as they have got active emotional charges with it, that could be stored in the body in various different connective tissues. And even if the trauma was 10 years back, this person could be having all those active emotional charges, which could be still keeping the brain into that survival mode, still triggering that fight, flight, survival mode, or leading to a degeneration. So these emotions could be accumulated in different parts of the body, leading to degeneration. So with body talk treatments, it's all about listening to and what these stressors are, and using various simple but profound techniques, which are a combination of NLP and various different energy-based medicine, to sort of surface that emotional trauma, disassociate, synthesize, and release it. So in simple words, it's like, putting a program on your computer where it's able to pull out all those dysfunctional files and being able to process it, defrag it, and delete it. So emotional trauma is one aspect of it, but there could be various different chapters in that um, puzzle, which could be psychological, which could be relationship, which could be microbiome imbalance and toxins and so on, which could contribute to those autoimmune conditions. And as long as you are addressing all those pieces of the puzzle, you are working with giving body that perfect environment, you're able to clear those epigenetic markers, and body has got ability to repair and heal.
So you mean, Angie, that even with these belief systems and emotions also, the genes can get on and off. Is that so?
What do you mean?
Like
Even
like you're saying, this part of course, and external environmental factors are there, the toxins are there. So the trauma through which we form our belief systems and these emotional charges are there, they can also play a role in turning the genes on and off.
Oh yes, oh yes. Emotional
Mm-hmm.
psychological factors are the big one. So I mean, you will see in your everyday life, like, let's say somebody has gone through a tough time, and that could be a bankruptcy or a divorce or something there, and you see them after 6 months and you're like, oh my God, this person has aged as if he has aged 10 years. Now, within that short period, the emotional trauma has just accelerated the inflammation and aging and maybe onset of a lot of stuff. So, yes, mental health, emotional, psychological health, that is the biggest piece that contributes to epigenetic conditions. Everything
Okay.
starts up. Our body and mind is intertwined, and it's inseparable. And when we are talking about psychology, that dictates our physiology. So when our brain is constantly producing those fear hormones or anxiety hormones and triggering that survival mode, it's each and every cell in the body has got a mind. It's going through the same program of fear mode. And you'll see that accumulation of that contributes to cancer or onset of various diseases. So yes, mental health, emotional, psychological factors are one key component in most of the health conditions.
Hmm. So, Angie, coming back to a little bit about the parental inheritance part here, I had one more question that if someone's parents have had chronic health issues, can they prevent developing the same condition in them?
Yes, and that's where epigenetics are important. So let's say
Hmm.
a parents have got whatever, something in their genes and they have got skin condition. Now, a child may have tendency of it because they've inherited these epigenetic markers, but these epigenetic markers need to reach to a certain number, to a saturation point, to
Okay.
tip the disease on. And what would affect it is lifestyle. So let's say this child has got extremely clean diet, lifestyle, exercise, meditation, good mental health, and all. So it's not building up on those epigenetic markers till it reaches to a saturation point where it tips the dysfunction of onset of the disease. So, and therefore, these body talk treatments you could be using as basically preventive mechanism, preventing a disease from forming because a disease is not formed overnight. And it's not one epigenetic marker that will switch on, let's say, a cancer for someone or diabetes for someone. It's accumulative impact. So it is certain layers that go through. Once it's accumulated, then it has got that impact. So, with body talk treatments, you could be preventing all those traumas and stresses and clearing and preventing the disease from manifesting. As
Okay.
well as you could be working on, with body talk, we work with cellular repair and various different techniques where you're able to clear the inherited epigenetic markers.
So now that you have told that it's not only about healing or actually helping person to mitigate or remove the disease, it's also so important that it can play a role in preventing it before a person can actually start getting that disease. So how can people start their healing journey with body talk is the most important question now.
Okay, cool. One thing I'm offering monthly free sessions. That could be a good starting point. They're on my YouTube, they're on Facebook. You can sign up on my website. So you can start with getting free sessions. There are few techniques that you can learn from my website, which is brain balancing. And that is for managing your stress levels, as well as switching technique, which is basically for your stress release. So simple self-help techniques that you can learn. There's a simple program which is called Body Talk Access, which is a one-day seminar where I teach simple 5 techniques and a fast aid where you can learn and basically use it as a self-maintenance treatment. Then I'm offering 20 minutes of free consultation. You can try that. You can try a body talk treatment and you can learn and become a body talk practitioner. You can learn how to listen to the body's unique story by taking this seminar, which is called Body Talk Fundamentals, which is, I would say, amazing because of the genius behind it with Dr. John Weltham, where he has taken the concepts of Chinese medicine, Western medicine, Ayurvedic system, and various different factors and put together in such a simplified protocol that anyone with no background can learn and be able to work with them and be able to do treatments and get amazing results. So you can start your journey at various points. You can receive a session, you can get a free session, you can learn a program for self-help, as well as you can learn body talk, how to do body talk treatments by signing up for Body Talk Fundamentals Seminar. In fact, in March, I think we have got 2 seminars coming up, um, catering to US, UK, Asia, various different time zones. So you can check that out. I think we've got an intro talk coming up this Saturday,
Yeah.
where I'll be talking in depth about this body talk fundamentals. So surely join in, and you will be just um, blown away with all what all you can learn and how simple and effective these techniques could be in your health journey. You can learn this to look after your family health or even use it as a profession.
And the intro talk is free of cost, right, Angie?
Yes, yes, the intro talk is free.
then I think it's absolutely the right time for everybody to just at least understand and get a essence of body talk with this free intro talk to start with. And I'm sure within that intro talk, people will have so much profound information and enlightenment that I'm sure they would love to, pursue the further webinar also. Anything else that you would like to add in this at the end before we culminate our session?
Right. I would say health is a personal responsibility. When I work with clients, many a times, I mean, you get all types of different clients. Some people would be where they come to a therapist or a doctor and their issue is fix me, whereas health is a personal responsibility. So even though there's a therapist, there's a doctor to help you, but all those stresses that have accumulated, um, there has to be a personal responsibility to self. So, what you can do for yourself, lifestyle changes, good diet, sleeping on time, simple, basic things, being in nature, taking care of your mental health, the important thing. Because
True.
once you're not taking care of your mental health, it will show up in your relationship, it will show up in your work. And that is one point that stress can, create a chaos in all aspects of your life. So taking responsibility of yourself and therefore learning that simple self-help program so you can take care of your health. You don't have to run outside for seeking help. As well as there's another workshop which is called Mindscape, which is again another powerful workshop where it's all about tapping into your mind power to find your solutions. And it's one webinar which is used in combination with Body Talk, where it's like, you are connected to your internal mentor and being able to find your solutions, what is behind your symptoms. So I would say my message would be self-empowerment, taking care of yourself with whatever tools you have for meditation, self-care, being in nature, taking care of diet, lifestyle, sleep, a very important piece, and then learning simple tools and techniques to empower yourself so you don't fall sick. Because once you come into that category of autoimmune condition or diabetic or high blood pressure and you get on Western medication, then it's a very tricky road to basically it just leads to loads of more medication and ongoing lifelong reliance on it. So prevention is better than cure.
Absolutely. Such a powerful line to actually end this session, that prevention is better than cure and our health is our own responsibility. Once we understand that, a lot of all other actually, I think, aspects of our life will also get sorted if we first work on our health. And I have already registered for the intro talk, guys. You all should also. And Mindscape is also an amazing tool which is there to help with your, understanding the potential of your brain. So,
Yeah,
see you. Yeah,
we have got Mindscape coming up in May, and on 2nd of May there are two intro talks, and there are again two webinars for various different time zones. So surely
absolutely.
check it out.
Yes. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching us. We'll meet you next
Thank
month.
you. Take
Bye
care.
bye.
Bye.